It is a good idea to avoid probate because it's expensive. It takes a long time. So if you can, it is a good idea. Sometimes we can't avoid it, though, because it's too late. Either our person has already died. We can't do planning after we die. Or our person has become incapacitated and they aren't any longer capable of doing planning. So sometimes we have to do a probate and there's no real way around it. It came to my attention in a couple of cases in the last 2 weeks that maybe we're doing too good a job of putting that fear of probate into the ether. I had a couple of clients who were concerned about an elderly family member who didn't have an estate plan, and they just were, panicked at the thought of having to do a probate because they weren't able to do any planning. And once I kind of walked them through what it's like, what to expect, I could tell that they were relieved and they thanked me and they felt like, they got some value out of that meeting. So it occurs to me again that maybe we ought to do a little more education just around the nuts and bolts kind of what a probate really is like, because there's not enough out there. There's a whole lot of, probate is terrible. But sometimes we have to do it. So we're going to have this short, several episode little series just on the basics of probate. And today you are the lucky audience who is going to listen to the first episode. We're going to be talking about, I call it what is an executor, but really the correct phrase is personal representative. So Ariana, why don't you start with, a personal representative and an executor?
Yeah, absolutely. Personal representative is the person who basically handles the probate and takes the estate through probate. And you can be one of two personal representatives. You could be the executor or you can be an administrator. And what that means is if somebody dies with a will, it's just a difference of name. You're the executor, you're appointed executor. If they die without a will, you're the administrator. Same roles, same duties, pretty much. It's just one different titling. One has a will, one does not have a will.
Yeah. So it's the same probate process, but your title depends on whether you had a will or not. Okay. So how does the court choose an executor? Now I'm getting ahead of myself. The executor or the administrator is a person appointed by the court to do the probate. How does that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So the court doesn't seek you out or anything. The person themselves, they have to petition the court to be appointed as either executor or administrator. So you have to, submit all of these filings, all of these pleadings to the court to ask them to be appointed in that role.
Okay. And so when there's a will, that person is called the executor, and they are the person that is named in the will. The decedent will say, this is who I want to be my executor, right in the will. And that person will be appointed by the court unless there's some controversy about them. Some other person comes forward and says, oh, no, this person should not be the executor. But when there's a will, that's who's going to be appointed, barring some weird circumstance.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcounsel.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcounsel.com/scheduling. Don't forget to keep an eye out for our next live episode. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show. But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcounsel.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.